try to remind me not to say the date anymore, Vince, because the way I'm publishing these, they get like published like 2 months after we record them because we have so many in the fucking backline, right? So I mean, like we did the WWDC one, and that's going to be published like after the iPhone comes out. It's hilarious. We should just wait to record it until afterwards and call it the like a prediction show. Anyways, hey everybody, welcome to the 3cast. Normally I would say the date here. I was just gonna keep saying it. It's terrible. The old habits die hard. We've done like 300 episodes, and I've always said the date. We're not gonna do that anymore. Anyways, I'm your host Matthew Weber. I'm joined by Mr. Vincent Hui. Ricky is wherever Ricky is. He's on a hiatus, I guess, for a little while or something. I don't know. He wants to do a Linux cast next week, but we'll see if he has the time. He apparently has kids. I mean, I don't know why you'd want one of those.
That kills you, man. It kills you.
You should just return those things. I mean, just take them back to Walmart or wherever the hell it is you got them.
No, you lay the newspaper down. It makes it easier.
Call the stork back and just, PayPal will give you back a refund. Anyways. So this week we're going to be talking about the San Diego ComicCon, right, Vince?
Yep.
That's what we're going to talk about. Vince, why don't you tell us a little bit what we're going to talk about, and then we can go through and do it.
Okay. So the original premise of this talk, and unfortunately Ricky's not here, but we were going to talk about just focus on the kind of super saturation of geekdom. I was going to kind of lament on the fact that Comic-Con started off with like this focus on guys that wrote stories like science fiction, fantasy, and also comics, and that's why it's hence Comic-Con. And it'd be all about the comic-related information. But now Comic-Con's this big, not only just cosplay venue, but certainly it's like the premium place to launch movies and every single piece of entertainment. Which fundamentally nowadays it's movies and all visual products right now are all driven by science fiction and comic books and stuff like that kind of stuff right now. That's hot, right? So anyways, since Ricky's not here, I think the easier way to talk about Comic-Con would just to be say a lot of cool new stuff usually gets launched or released. TV series to new trailers for movies to even some video game stuff. So it's always like this kind of really apex moment for a lot of guys that Matt, Ricky, guys like us really are into. And certainly now the vast majority of the population is definitely into, as you can see by the attendance and certainly the sheer numbers of, commodity products that come out. In any event, so I'm going to start the ball off by just go and say what one or two things, and we'll go back and forth on this, are getting you excited from Comic-Con. So for me, there was a lot of stuff that came out pertaining to basically Comic-Con now is Disney's baby. I mean, if you look at everything from Star Wars to Avengers to, of course, Disney releasing a whole bunch of new things from its live-action retelling of its various animated movies from Lion King all the way to Mulan. It basically, there's a huge thing owned by Disney. Jump into all the stuff about Marvel and Star Wars, my wheelhouse. But one thing that I'm not necessarily really super premium on the top of my list to want to go to see, but what got me excited was the Justice League trailer. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see the Justice League trailer. You know that DC is really trying to make up for lost time, given that Marvel has really been kicking ass with all of its properties and kind of making a kind of unified universe with all of its stuff. And it's been sputtering on the DC side, like they're remaking Supermans, they're kind of redoing Batmans, and now they finally kicked it in high gear with Wonder Woman. But the kind of Justice League premise is that, of course, all of these other assets, Flash, Cyborg, they're all going to come together and they're going to take down, and save the world. Came out, and you got to admit that it is funny, quirky, exciting. You get to see the diversity of characters. It's not the dark, brooding stuff that you hold in Batman series. It's not as kind of sanctimonious and dark as Batman versus Superman tried to be. Not as historically tied as the Wonder Woman thing. It's just a fun, stupid movie. You can see the quirky comedy in there, and it reads like a comic book. So that's, for me, one of the first trailers that I saw that really got me excited and said, hey, save itself. Matt, how about you? Anything interesting from your side?
I'll answer that. Vince, can you turn your video off so that we can get just your audio? You're kind of breaking up quite a bit.
All right, no problem. Cool.
We'll see if that helps your bandwidth just a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's actually almost immediately better.
All right, cool.
Good. All right, so yeah, I saw the Justice. Good Lord, talk words out of my mouth. I saw the Justice League trailer. It looked good, and I think that they're coming out just at the right time because Marvel's going to be losing a whole bunch of like actors for like their main franchise, right? So like Robert Downey Jr. is not going to do another Iron Man, right?
For sure.
I don't know for sure, but I know it's been rumored quite a bit that he's just not going to come back and do a fourth one.
Yeah. Okay.
So and you know they've switched actors for the Hulk twice at least. So I mean they go through and a lot of what like drew me back to Iron Man was Robert Downey Jr. Right. So I think that DC's coming in at the right time where Marvel's going to be going through a little bit of upheaval. Plus, their movies have gotten so expensive to produce.
Yeah,
the quality's just kind of gone down quite a bit, in my opinion.
Well, my question would be then, like, I mean, if Justice League is kind of really trying to make up lost ground and trying to get the super team, certainly Avengers was able to do it with the first, but it's progressively, as you said, getting really expensive. And step for Marvel was the series, which that was another thing that was launched at San Diego ComicCon with the posters. Is basically putting everyone all the way down to Thor. Like,
Vince, you're breaking up really bad.
And Spider-Man. Oh, crap.
I get like one word out of every 10.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because the storm's nearby.
You're not. Are you having any problems on your end hearing me?
No, not at all.
So it's definitely coming. It might be. Maybe it's me. I don't know.
No, probably me.
No, we'll just do the best we can.
Okay.
Like I said, my computer's going to.
How about you turn off your video now?
Windows. It's terrible.
You can't turn off your video, can you?
And actually, yeah, we'll give that a try.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give that a try. See if that works.
Okay. So I was just saying that the movies that with the superhero genre that they're trying to really put together these big assembled, super team movies. They're getting more and more expensive, and the upcoming Infinity War series, which is actually 2 movies from Marvel, covers everyone from Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Captain America, all the way down to Thor and Hulk. I mean, that is huge, and quite frankly, that's going to be millions of dollars just in actors' fees. So I couldn't imagine it being a sustainable model moving forward.
Yeah. Plus, another way to look at that, Vince, is that for people like me who are casual comic fans, like I don't know all the characters. I'm actually more familiar with the villains than I am a lot of the heroes. For the people who are like me, to bring out a movie like that has all of these characters thrown in, I'm just gonna be like, who's that guy? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna know. And more, it's not just gonna be who's that guy, but it's gonna be, why do I care about that guy? Because you can't go through and have 20 heroes in a movie and expect to be able to tell the backstory of every single one of them. It would just be completely boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like 12 hours long. I mean, it'd be like Lord of the Rings, on steroids. So I mean, I just don't see how a movie like that can be good for somebody who's not already entrenched in all of the lore surrounding every single comic book, or at least regularly familiar with at least some of them.
So then I guess coming back to the question I had for you is like, was there anything one of the things that drew your attention or got you excited from the?
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just say the 2 that caught my eye.
What?
The Lego Ninja movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. All right. So only because the games are good. I did not care for the first Lego movie. That's the only one I saw. But I know they're doing a Batman one.
That came out already, dude.
Is it already out?
Downloaded and everything, man. Shh.
All right. Anyway, so they did a Batman one. They're doing this ninja one. So I know from the trailer of the Batman one that it actually looked kind of funny. So I thought that the ninja one could have some potential. It'll probably be terrible because it's probably gonna be one of those movies where they used all of the good scenes in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, and then the rest of them is just going to be like little Lego dudes walking around trying to kick ass. Anyway, so that's one that caught my eye. The other one, what was the other one? I mean, I watched the Thor Ragnarok trailer.
That I don't know, man. I don't get why. Like Ricky's, speaking for Ricky there. Ricky likes the Thor movies. I don't understand them. Like it's so divorced from like the typical comic route that it's just, man, I just can't pick up on that, man.
Yeah, I think I would probably have a problem with it just because it goes into Norse mythology and stuff, and they just don't follow anything like at all. But that's just kind of like the history buff in me looking at that, like it's kind of sideways. Why are you doing it this way? But I don't know. I just the graphics good. I probably won't watch it beyond the trailer. But then I've never watched any of the Thor movies. Same with Captain America. I think then the reason why is because I just don't like the actors that portray them. So like Chris Evans in Captain America, I just don't like him. I just think he's a very poor actor. So all right. So here's what I want to do, Vince. I want to answer your main overall question for today. Why has it the nerd culture kind of and Comic-Con spread so far and wide? If that's okay.
Yep,
if we you can talk about more trailers if you want. Was there any others before we move on? Are any other trailers you wanted to talk about?
I just want to say that if anyone has an opportunity, there's some hidden gems too, like that aren't like Game of Thrones or like Marvel or DC. I just like seeing some of the TV series that come out. Like some of the things are like going to be picked up by 3 episodes and then get canceled. But one that popped up was I think it's on Fox. It's probably Fox. It's called Orville, like as in Orville Redenbacher, but it's basically like a parody of Star Wars or sci-fi stuff, and it's by Seth MacFarlane, the guy that does like Family Guy and American Dad and stuff. Except it's not
animated.
Yeah, it's not animated. It's actually like straight up like production values like Star Trek: The Next Generation. So the premise is that he is commissioned to be a captain on a starship, the equivalent of like a Starship Enterprise, and it's just like if you just watch the trailer, it's like he doesn't take himself seriously. If you liked, remember Galaxy Quest back in the day?
Vaguely,
probably not.
yeah.
You're young.
Is that the movie?
Yeah, Tim Allen and yeah. So basically, that was a parody of like the Star Wars thing. But imagine if it wasn't a movie, and imagine it was a TV series, and like it doesn't take itself seriously. It's like, you just gotta watch the trailer. I mean, there are little things that, again, I come, and this is a kind of a supplement to the point that, the bigger question we're talking about, which is about that nerd culture and stuff. Comic-Con is not solely about the prime, like, major titles. I think that's the problem that I have with it. And maybe this is the hipster in me, I guess, where it's like, yeah, it's cool to talk about the stuff that was cool or that's cool now. But I mean, I liked comic books before everyone else liked comic books, right? And that's what Comic-Con started with. And I still like the vestiges of that, where you can watch trailers for new shows, new movies, things that might not be picked up, that 5 years down the line might be picked up and become huge. Like, I mean, look at Game of Thrones. I don't know, those books came out like how many like a decade ago, probably more, like 2 decades. How long ago?
Oh, yeah, he started in the 80s, I'm pretty sure, maybe even the late 70s. So
no way.
He's still writing them. So
okay, but the thing is that those books were out for like ever ago, and you can tell that it has built up a huge following, and it kind of culminates in the phenomena that is Game of Thrones right now. And the San Diego ComicCon and nerd culture in general has kind of propagated it to that level, and I think it's good. because otherwise we wouldn't have these opportunities to see these great production values in shows like that. But at the same time, I just think that the ubiquity of this, and on the one hand, I'm selfish, where I'm going, I used to like it when it was just like me and a couple of cool guys. We would just go nod when we saw like a certain logo from like the emblem of a certain tribe from our favorite sci-fi thing, right? You just go, yeah, man, that guy knows his sci-fi, and you just be like walking down the street and say cool. Whereas nowadays, everyone has like some pop culture awareness, and you see that's the mixed blessing that I get with it. So I just found that it's interesting to note that despite the kind of rather esoteric origins of San Diego ComicCon, it has now become the penultimate part of contemporary culture.
Yeah. All right. So, and I have a stab at the reason why. All right. So, actually, two reasons. One, I think, and I might be a little bit off on the chicken and egg question here, but from just not San Diego in particular, but like the Comic-Cons that have spread across everywhere.
Yep.
The TV portion of it has gotten significantly bigger than it ever was before, right? So it's not just science fiction that go to Comic-Cons; it's pretty much everything on television. So like Castle, which was one of my favorite TV shows of all time, they always went to Comic-Con for the last four years that they were on the air. Bones, and I think that so. And then to tie into my second point, so I mean, so they brought in more than just science fiction, which brought in more different people. Plus, there's the idea of, so like fandoms have always existed. So like when Star Wars came out, it instantly created a group of people like Vince, who were dedicated and loyal and obsessed with the movies, right? I mean, it's just people would go through and dress up as wait in line for the next movie. Those kind of people, the people who aren't like me, who are just interested mildly. But I think that since the advent of, or the influence of the internet has gotten so big, fandoms have gotten much bigger. And one of the things that has kind of propagated online is fan fiction. And so you can go into Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Castle or Harry Potter and write your own, fiction or whatever. And people, I mean, millions and millions and millions of people do this, and it gives people an investment into the franchise, right? And once you're invested into writing your own ways into the things, you go and also you buy merchandise, you go to conventions, and I mean, I know everybody looks at me weird and say, well, why do you spend all this time on fan fiction? But I mean, it's not just me. I mean, there's just so many people. And I think that brings in the whole community aspect of it, because people playing off each other, doing sequels and getting on Tumblr and Twitter and social media and talking about these fandoms. And when you get into a community, that just kind of creates conventions, I mean, the Harry Potter conventions, more Comic-Cons, and that just that interest of the community going into each of these fandoms is what's kind of brought up the popularity of Comic-Cons and conventions and everything like that.
You know what? You raise a really good point, because I think I can just build on that a little bit. That with the onset of the communication network that we have, whether it's the internet or anything else, maybe you're right that everyone inherently has this desire to embrace science fiction, fantasy, or whatever kind of fandom based on some sort of property or IP that comes about. It's just that the connectivity allows us to kind of propagate that. And of course, these events like Comic-Con or whatever are a venue to not only bring up the newest and greatest, but also to bring people together. Because let's be honest here, you're right. I could watch trailers for a whole bunch of new things every year, and I could be sitting in my basement, and for it to be all consolidated in one weekend in wherever, and to also have people come together, to have panelists of the actors talk about their new roles, talk about the production. I think that's what has allowed for these events to not only become the monumental spectacles that they are, but it also allows for people to actually, kind of express what they like. Because in the 80s and the 70s, you wouldn't have that capacity really, and even if you did, it'd be like a bunch of guys locally in your city gathering, but you
it'd be locally, whereas the internet brings it, worldwide. Yeah.
But it's not just simply a virtualized thing. Like, I mean, that's what I say. Like, you could have like entire forums on like Reddit or something where like everyone's like talking about Game of Thrones. But when you have this consolidated moment in like, the summer where in San Diego where people all gather and stuff is launched, that simulcast of that IP, the trailer and all stuff, plus people gathering to watch it, plus the actual actors and the producers and the writers talking about it, that I think is something that is unheard of, and it's a really good testament to the nature of our times, where it's not just solely online; it's actually online foisting upon the world something that's really truly physically community building, right? So I mean that you're right. Maybe that's the reason why the saturation isn't simply a kind of odd thing. It's actually just the culmination of how society and the media that we've got has allowed for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's loud. Like, I mean, before the internet became so, vastly available, here in the United States. I mean, it's the San Diego ComicCon. The San Diego ComicCon's been going on for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a long time. But I mean, it was before the internet. It was probably very, very local, right?
Yeah.
So to go off from your point is people watch these things online. They go to blogs and get on YouTube and watch the videos, and they're like, well, I want to take a part in this physically, so I'm going to go to the next San Diego Comic-Con, or I'm gonna so like there's a Comic-Con that happens in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is 40 miles away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just all over the place. There's one in Detroit that happens. There's one, New York, Philadelphia. I mean, just all over the place. And it's the popularity of these things have just kind of spawned because more and more people. It's just kind of like a rolling cycle. It's going to get more and more popular as not only because what would be interesting to talk about, Vince, is that like TV is actually becoming less and less popular. Like traditional sit down and watch. Oh, my show's on at 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah. That kind of
type of TV is getting less and less popular. Whereas TV that's like on YouTube or through like Hulu or something is getting more and more popular. It'd be interesting to. So I mean, this is obviously just cord cutting is just kind of just starting. It's just kind of really becoming viable. Where because it used to be like if you wanted HBO, you had to subscribe to a cable service and watch HBO that way and get your Game of Thrones on your actual television. Now you can get it on your iPhone whenever you want. Same thing with like CBS and stuff. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if that has any impact on growing the phenomena of geek culture or just media culture anymore. Because I mean, a lot of people, here in the United States, and I'm sure it's even more prevalent around the world, just could never afford cable TV because it's just so god awful expensive, right? So I mean, maybe they had it for a little while. It was like,
is that me or you?
It's coming from you.
Is it? How?
I don't know, man. You got some circus. Vince is gone. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, Hulu and Netflix and things like that. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of propagates and expands the Comic-Con culture. So I'm going to pause here and wait for Vince to come back.
Sorry, Matt.
Okay, Vince. Any idea what happened?
Yeah, I just sent you a text. So I'm using my daughter's old, my daughter's laptop, which I gave her, which is an old machine of mine, and I didn't realize that she had all of 2 megs of RAM, 2 megs of space on this, and of course her Spotify is running in the background, which I did not know, and that's why it's just like it started turning on and it started killing it. So hopefully this is a little bit better, man.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. All right. So, was there anything else you wanted to say on this topic, Vince?
Nope. Sorry. Nothing much. It was just a matter of discussing like just where the cultural values went and how it's escalating. And I think it's going in the right direction now that, having talked to you, it seems to be a natural extension of connections. I mean, just to finish off your point about TV, I'm sorry if I missed it out, but you're right. With all the cord cutting going on, I think that with more and more of these kinds of like Amazon, HBO, Netflix kind of things where they're making their own series and stuff, I think that it'll be even more of a venue, more venues for these kinds of productions to go about. I mean, just today, did you see that they launched, and this might come across as like old news by the time it gets released, but Karate Kid, get this, Ralph Macchio, the guy that played the original Karate Kid back in the 1980s. You probably weren't born yet, but Mr. Miyagi and Ralph Macchio, they're actually going to take the good guy, the Karate Kid guy, and the guy that was the bad guy, and they're going to put a YouTube series of the show of basically continuing the Karate Kid legacy on YouTube Red or whatever it is. I never heard about this, right? But that's just to follow up on your point that there's more and more venues for these types of productions to continue, and they're certainly not just limited to TV, but like basically they're kind of liberated with the online systems, to just watch whenever you want and however you want.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't want to come across as a fanboy here, but it'd be interesting to see if Apple ever gets into that original content game. I mean, this is a big space, right? And like Amazon's into it, Google's into it, but Apple owns iTunes, but it's all third-party content. So it'd be interesting to see if they like hire The Rock to do some more original content.
Yeah, but do you think they would? Because I mean, like, look, Apple has never produced movies. Apple has never produced music, right? And why would they suddenly get into the creation of TV series?
Well,
right?
see, they really kind of, they kind of already are. So they're doing that Planet of the Apps. That's original to them. I mean, it's not an original idea, but they're doing it. And then they're doing that. They bought that Carpool Karaoke from the late night guy, James Cardoff, whatever his name is. And so they took that and they're going to put that on the internet with all new exclusive episodes.
But they're doing new ones they're doing new ones then?
Yeah, so it's going to be like a whole like online TV iTunes exclusive thing. Plus they've always done like those iTunes concerts or whatever. So I mean, obviously, like I don't think that they're ever gonna, Tim Cook's not gonna come out and create his own content. It's always gonna be, Madonna and Adele and things like that. But it's gonna be like on an Apple record. Because I mean, especially because then they can go through and I mean, it seems like it'd be kind of the space that they could kind of get into and kind of revolutionize. Because I mean, the whole record industry. I mean, obviously it's not records anymore, but like the studios. That was the word I was looking to. I mean, they take all the money and the artists don't get anything unless they do a whole bunch of concerts. So I mean, especially in the whole streaming era, where the artists are kind of getting shafted, it'd be interesting to see if Apple could come in and try to come through. I mean, I think artists would go kind of crazy if Apple said, "Well, hey, you want to know what? Leave your studios, come publish with us, and we'll give you 70-30, just like they do in the App Store." You know what I mean? I mean, I think artists would kill for that. The only problem with Apple doing that is the exclusivity that they'd probably demand. So I mean, they like, it comes to us first for like the first month or 2 years or whatever. I think that'd be a big problem. So I mean, I know that's completely off topic, but it'd be interesting to see what they do.
No, I suspect that they would be more reticent about it because they're just waiting for like Amazon and Netflix to do their business, and then they'll jump in when they can find a good opportunity. Look, their ability to do stuff with online content has been really a kind of shaky thing. Apple Music kind of fell to the wayside. Apple's iBooks ecosystem is garbage, and they tried to put it onto faculty members to make that stuff. It didn't work. There's a bad history as of late
of them doing services.
Yeah, so I don't see that happening. But coming back to the issue of the Comic-Con stuff, I think you're right though. There's greater array of outlets for this stuff to come out, and it'll only service the customer best.
Yeah, it's gonna get bigger. All right, so do you have a pick of the week, Vince, or no?
Absolutely not, because I got kids.
Right. All right. So just because of that, I have two. Real quick. So even though I'll probably be leaving iOS because it keeps deleting my shit.
Oh, tell us about that, Matt. Tell us.
I woke up. So this is the second time it's happened. I woke up the other morning, all my images gone, all my contacts gone for no reason.
I don't know how that happens, man. Because when you're not paying your bills, that's so.
It has absolutely nothing to do with it, right? I mean, it'd be different if it was something that I did. I just woke up and iCloud, so it's their iCloud service or whatever that I back up to, and it's just all gone. Now, luckily, I had backups elsewhere. I backed up on Google this time after it happened last time. So I have Google Photos on there, so it backed up all my photos to Google Photos, and I put all my contacts up in Google's cloud. But if I'm gonna have to do that to Google anyways, I might as well just use Android. You know what I mean? That's my point. I like iOS. I think it has a greater, a better selection of well-designed apps, whereas Androids are just kind of blah. But that's a bug I can't accept. It can't just keep deleting my shit and expecting, because I don't want to have to keep going through and transferring my contacts over to the phone app every single time it decides for no reason it's just going to delete shit. It'd be different,
man. That's a time.
It'd be different if it was like I was on a beta or something, but this is like their released software. And I know I haven't taken it to the store because what are they going to do? It's already gone. Anyway, so Apple News, the Apple News app that's stock on iPhone, it's actually really good. Now, Flipboard used to be like my go-to news app. Yep. It was like really awesome. But they keep updating the UI, and it's just not as good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So it used to be like you had this one main feed in Flipboard, and it would kind of show you all your stuff, and it would have some stuff from Twitter, and pull stuff from all different topics, and it still kind of does that in their cover story kind of thing. Yep. But I think every 2.5 stories you have this big ass ad, and it takes up the whole page. And if you want to go through and look for, if you really want to use Flipboard for anything specific, you have to go through in specific topics. And I don't really want to do that. But the Apple News app is actually really good. It's well designed. It's crashing for me right now. I don't know why. But I think that's just my internet or something going crazy. Anyways, that's really good. It's free. It's on the iPhone. Obviously, it's not on Android. And the other one is Telegram. Is like a messaging thing that Ricky and I decided we're going to try out today, see if it actually works. So far, so good. It's kind of good. It's awesomely designed. It looks way better than WhatsApp. Plus, it's everywhere. It has Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, iPhone, Windows Phone. It's like literally everywhere. It's fantastic. It's free. Plus, there's like a end-to-end encryption. So there's that if that's important to you. All right. So Vince says have one. So that is it for us this week. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so. Email at the3cast.com. You can email that at any URL variation that you want. The 3cast with the letter 3, the number 3, or spelling the 3 out. It doesn't matter. I'm at MTWB. Ricky, who is not here, is Ricky_Williams1. Vince is VWHUI. He actually tweets more than anybody of the three of us. And you can follow us at the 3cast is at the number 3cast, and Facebook.com is at the number 3cast. Coming up, the next time we decide to record one of these is the Da Vinci Code. Yeah. So Vince and I chose this one because
book or movie? Book or movie?
All right, so we're going to talk about the movie, but if it's just you and I, we can get into the books. We can talk about how terrible Dan Brown is, because you and I have talked about that, but we've never recorded it.
Yes.
Chances are Ricky probably will be a no-show again. He'll be off having a third baby or something. Such a fool. It's okay, Ricky. We love you. Anyways, just not your babies. So we can get into that whenever we decide to do another episode. And that's it for us, and we'll see you then.
Take care, guys.